Chicago Sound Podcasts.
Yeah.
Good to see you all since last week.
Hi.
Cool. I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling.
Today we have Dave Katz.
Hello.
From the long-standing Acoustic Hookah. Let's get into the music, huh?
All right.
Shall we?
Yep.
So we all know you from Acoustic Hookah, which we love. We all were, my scene, were big influenced by what you guys do.
Right on.
So can you tell us about what influenced you guys and how you all got together back in the early 90s?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with how we got together, which was just it formed out of an open mic at a place called the South Heidelberg on High Street in Columbus. And John Mullins, who I guess essentially he and I founded the band. I guess you would say it grew out of his open mic, and I was going down there and heard his songs, and he heard my songs, and we kind of started playing together, and the voices really worked well. The harmonizing was there right off the bat, and eventually some other people who were just hanging out down there started playing with us, and that's essentially how the band formed. So there were other founding members or original members, but it kind of grew out of John and myself, and our songs is what formed the band basically. So the original members were John and myself and Steve Sweeney, who's still the lead guitar player, Cliff Starbuck, who played bass in the band, and he and Steve were in a Grateful Dead cover band called Supplication. So they were kind of doing that and our thing at the same time, and eventually it was we kind of forced a decision out of them, like you have to choose one or the other, and they came with us. And the original drummer was Steve Fry. Same thing, he was just hanging out down there. He was also in a Grateful Dead cover band called Strangely Enough, and he said, okay, I'll join too, so it was just kind of people coming together. It wasn't any ads or anything like, hey, we're starting a band or anything like that. Very, very organic beginning. As far as influences go, is that what you asked? Like what influenced us?
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea.
You were all musicians or in bands before you got there? Or just...
Yeah. I mean, John, honestly, I don't know if he was ever in a band before. He may have been, I sort of remember that maybe he was in a band at some point, but I don't think it was anything that necessarily like played out a lot. How I knew him was just from the open mic. So everybody else was in Grateful Dead cover bands. I mean, pretty much was what it came down to. The band I was in was called Local Color. We did other things as well, but probably 50% Grateful Dead. So.
Nice. How long before you got the name?
How long? That's a good question. I don't know because it's hard. It's a long time ago.
How about the
how we got it?
How
I
you
can
got
tell
the
you
name,
that's an easy one. John and I were hanging out in my living room, I guess you'd say, in Columbus, and just throwing out names. And I mean, you've named bands. It's kind of weird to name a band, and you can throw out like lots of strange things, and whatever. But I had been to Egypt, excuse me, not long before that, maybe, well, let's see, that was 91 when we started. So I guess it would be like a couple years before that I had been to Egypt, and I brought back this hookah, and it was made out of brass. And it was sitting up on the mantle, and I kind of looked at it, and I was like, well, how about brass hookah? I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a cool name, but with brass, you would think there's horns.
Yeah.
We had no horns. But we liked the hookah part of it. I mean, I'm sure we were just stoned out of our minds and, just, hey, hookah, that sounds cool. Like, hey, that's a great name for a band. So we threw a lot of things at with hookah, and acoustic hookah sounded really good, but acoustic hookah sounds like acoustic instruments. But being the masters of the English language that we really aren't, but thought we were, we looked up the word acoustic, and acoustic actually has nothing to do with electricity. The definition is sound as it is heard. Well, that's acoustics. Yeah. So that worked. Acoustic hookah, it kind of still worked even though we weren't acoustic. And we did do some things acoustic, and we had an acoustic guitar in the band. So, but it kind of stuck at that point. So because of the definition, that's how we came to the decision that we would use the phonetic spelling of it, and that's where the schwa comes in, and the whole spelling's phonetic. Hookah is spelled phonetically as well.
Yeah, cool. That was my next question. You just answered
it. It wasn't just to be like cool. In fact, back then I don't think that was cool to like misspell words, stuff like that. I think it would have been looked at as kind of stupid, but it made sense. There was definitely a purpose for it.
Cool. All right, so 91, you all get together, you get this band going, and tell us about those early days, like maybe the first like five years.
Well, the first 5 years, probably exactly 4 or 5 years, were the Mullins years, as people would probably look at it, or they now call it, I think, Acoustic Hookah 1.0 or something like that. So John was in the band during that time, and it was just kind of we never had any plan. There was never a plan. I mean, there was no, like I said, it just happened that we got together. So there was no plan. It was just like, hey, let's play. This is fun. Where else can we play? Kind of thing. And our first manager, I feel bad. I'm having trouble remembering his name right now. I can picture him, but he must have been the one, looking back, that got his gigs, outside of playing at the South Heidelberg. The Southberg had grown to this, to massive proportions, considering how small the room was. So the room itself was probably, it's hard to remember, but maybe could hold, let's say, 200 people. And that would be the room you played in, plus the back pool room, stuff like that. And that's being generous. And we were doing 600 people. I mean, it was crazy. And we were the first band ever to charge there too, because at some point we're like, we should charge people to come in here. We could actually make money doing this, So I think we charged $5 or something like that maybe, but maybe we started at $1. That could have been $2. I'm not sure. It was a very small amount of money, but I mean, there were people up the stairwells to the bathrooms, and up the back stairwell to the alley, and the in and out. I mean, it was just this there were so many people in there, really uncomfortable.
The fire marshal ever come?
I don't think they did that. I mean, back then you could do anything you wanted. Nobody cared about anything. I mean, there was way too many people in this place. If there had been a, knock on wood, if there had been a problem, it would have been a problem for sure. But somebody was, this guy, I still can't remember his name, but he started getting us gigs, everywhere else. And I actually have an old calendar of ours, and it was pretty much 5, 6, 7 days a week, all in Ohio, but we were just playing everywhere. And back then, they were relatively small places, but everywhere was selling out, and it was great. And we were playing all the time. We were like kids, back then, and just having a lot of fun. And what we did is we just spiraled out from Columbus. That was basically what happened. We never just shot out on tour like a lot of bands will just be like, hey, let's go tour. We never did that. We just kind of played, and once we could fill that place, we'd go a little further out. We'd fill that place, and then we'd go a little further out, And that way, it made sense. Yeah. And always. It was fun, and we weren't losing money to travel around and play.
Right. Yeah.
Which is exactly what happens when you go out on the road.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
It's a huge risk. And we got to the point where that happened too eventually. But so, the first 5 years were really just growing like that. In 94 was when we started Hookahville. And that was just started as I lived out in the woods in a place called Fredericktown, and we didn't have running water, outhouse, things like that. It was a lot of fun. And lots of dogs, the hippie thing, you know what I mean? It was just me and two guys, bought a bunch of woods with a cabin on it, a hunting cabin, and decided to build a house on the property, attach it to the hunting cabin. But we had no water. We had a pump. So we needed we had a well, but we needed a pump. So that was what we charged the band like it was whatever, $300-$400 to get a pump down there. And we pulled in we just were like, hey, let's play out in the woods and invite a bunch of people. So we did, and we didn't advertise really. We just word of mouth, and like 800 people showed up. And we were like, wow, that's cool. So let's do it again. And we did it on Memorial Day weekend. We're like, let's do it again Labor Day weekend and find another place. And then that started growing.
So year one, you did it 2 times.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Since the outset.
And not planned again. It was like we did it once, and it was on the holiday weekend. And we're like, hey, that was cool. Let's do it again. You know,
if we
in 3
build
months.
It, they will come.
Yeah, we'll just go over here. And then we found Songbird Center, which was in Bellevue, Ohio. Not Bellevue, Belleville. Lexington, Ohio, like right off Route 71. And it was a really cool place, and we went there and we did like 1,500 people. And I was like, whoa, that was cool. Maybe we should keep this going, you know, and it was that kind of thing. So again, it's just a very organic beginning to something.
Very first couple, how many bands did you have play?
The first one, if I remember correctly, and this is kind of ironic, but the first one we had one opener, I think, and that was Ed Mcgee playing acoustic guitar and singing. And us. In the second one, I'm going to guess we had like 2 or 3 other bands maybe, and that was it, which is the way we did it for a while. It was 1 day of music for a while, 2 days of camping, 1 day of music, 1 stage. This is old school, you know, very old school. And that was like 94 into 95. And then at the end of sometime in 95, if I remember right, I think it was the summer is when we kicked John out. So that was the end of the 5th year. I suppose you're going to want to know why we kicked John out.
Well, we try to do as little bashing as possible on this.
It's not going to be a matter of bashing.
All right.
It's nothing that people don't know. I mean, John had his issues, and people knew that, you know. Everybody knows that. Who knows John knows he had his issues. He had a lot of really, really good qualities, but he had trouble performing and sounding good. And outside of anything else I would or could say about it, that's what it came down to: is you have to be able to perform.
Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever you want in your life, but if you can't do it on stage, then that's a problem. So we just we had to move on from that at that time.
Cool.
So not bad. Hey, here's the John, man.
Here's the John.
I've written songs about the guy, good and bad.
Cool.
Good and bad.
He's still around?
What's that?
He's still around?
John?
Yeah.
No, he's gone. Yeah, he passed away, I don't know, 4 years ago maybe? But I don't really know. Something like that.
And after John left the band, who took his place?
Ed Mcgee.
Yeah.
Ed was a guy who we all knew. He'd been hanging around. He'd followed, I don't want to say followed us, but been on tour with us, let's say, not playing, but you know, he was more than just like a casual fan because we knew him. So, you know, sometimes we'd see him out like in Colorado or something like that, and we could hang out because we knew him, you know. And we had heard his songs and his singing.
He from Ohio?
Me?
Him.
Ed originally is from, I believe he would say he's originally from New Hampshire. I think that's where he was born, but pretty much from Vermont. But he was in Ohio at the time. He went to Ohio State. I think that's why he was there. And, you know, I mean, basically, as things were deteriorating with John, we were kind of, let's say, in touch with him, with Ed, about joining the band. I think we actually asked him once, and then, like, let's say the first time we got rid of John, sort of, but John was kind of like voted back in, let's say, after we had talked to Ed. So it was kind of like he was almost on standby in a weird way. Not that we ever said to him, hey, if this ever happens, you're going to be the guy, but we had already contacted him because things were rocky, you know, for sure. So, and then the eventuality was that John was gone and Ed was in. So it was kind of a seamless thing because we already knew his, you know, Acoustic Hookah has never done anything conventionally, ever. And I'm sure that's worked it's been a plus and a minus. There's no doubt about that. But in replacing people or getting new people, however you want to look at it, we've never really like gone on massive searches for things, and taken a lot of time to do it. That's just never happened. It's always been pretty quick, like, hey, we need a person, let's get them in here, and we're gonna make this work, And
I feel like that's a better way. Auditions like get you to a certain point. You get to see a lot of people, but when you get to pick somebody, the chemistry's already there, which is kind of harder than getting the music there.
Absolutely, there's no doubt. I mean, musicians are a dime a dozen. They're a dime a million. There's musicians everywhere. Certainly, getting along with people is harder. But even when you think you know people, eventually, it's different. It's like they always say, don't move in with your best friend, right? It's probably a bad idea. So when you start touring with people, spending a lot of time with them, things can turn out a lot differently than you thought they might. But just for whatever reason, that's the way we've gone. And it's, again, had its plus and minuses, when we've done that. But he was in pretty quickly. He didn't have a ton of songs, but he had some songs at the time, which was good because we did spend a short amount of time playing as a four-piece where pretty much everything we were playing was mine. And it's tough on my voice, number one, but it's also like not what the band's about. You know what I mean? Like there's more to the band than my songs. And I mean, of course, everybody has to play on the songs. And I don't mean it that way, but my sound, let's say, or whatever, we've always had two sounds. We've always had another singer-songwriter. And Eric, our drummer, also writes songs, but he doesn't have a ton of songs. But we do his songs as well. But there's always been another element to us, and I would think that it would get stale being just me. That's at least as far as acoustic hookah goes. That's just not what it's about. So it wasn't like we were going to not bring somebody in, or just bring in like a guitar player and not a songwriter. Like we always wanted that. Yeah. Or at least I did. I think everybody else did. We never talked about anything, so I'm assuming everybody else was cool with that.
Yeah, that just feels right.
Yeah,
exactly. When everyone's included, and it's more of just a collective sounds.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's nice to have different elements coming. I mean, a lot of bands are what they are. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, if you take a band like, well, let's just go with like a genre like grunge bands, right? It's like, Pearl Jam is Pearl Jam. It's Eddie Vedder singing every song, and they kind of sound like them all the time. With us, you get this kind of sound, and then you get a sound that's like totally different, and maybe hopefully another sound that's like totally different. And it's just not that there's anything wrong with what Pearl Jam did. I mean, that was great, and it, you can't. But that's not what we're about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to say you've inspired a lot of that, and what kind of scene was really non-existent until you guys kind of started doing that. Well, I mean, I'm only 36, so I don't know exactly how it was back then compared to what it is now, but I see a lot of
it certainly
what
wasn't
I'm hearing
mainstream.
Now. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
for sure. You had the Grateful Dead, and that they had that. I mean, without a doubt, you had two distinctly different types of songwriters in there. And then the little, like when Phil would do something, it's like that was there. There wasn't a lot of it, but it was there. Or when Brent was in the band and it was there. Not that I'm saying we're anything like the Grateful Dead or anything like that, but I like that about them. You had the same thing with the Allman Brothers, where you had Dickie's songs and you had Greg's songs, and they sound worlds apart, but they work together within the band.
That's right. Yeah.
So it existed. It's not like we, came up with this out of nowhere. But I'm glad that that other bands do that, because I think it's kind of cool.
It's very cool.
It keeps everything fresh when you're at a show, too.
It does.
Like even when you're seeing some of your favorite bands, so you're like, all right, well, that's 7 of the same thing, Like,
right.
It's nice to get a little variety in there,
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many artists that I like, and I like their songs, and I respect them a lot, but I can only listen to so much of them, and then it gets old to me, because it's just gets old to me.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I love AC/DC, but
Right. I don't want to listen to them all day
sound,
long.
They sound pretty similar there.
Right.
They do.
Like Angus Young had the quote where somebody's like, some critics say you've made the same album 7 times in a row.
Well, people keep buying it.
And
Exactly.
he goes, they're completally wrong. We've made the same album 11 times in a row.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that, so, again, nothing wrong with it. And some people probably can listen to AC/DC all day long.
Yeah.
I
There's some days, depending on what you're doing. You're working on a car all day. I could listen to AC/DC the whole time I'm working on a car.
Yeah. But see, you might want to go
Absolutely
AC/DC
good.
and then put in some Sabbath or something, and then maybe some Zeppelin, and then kind of get that genre.
Yeah. Oh, I was just playing along with some. I haven't played along with Sabbath on drums in 20 years now. Dating myself here a bit, but I was playing.
You put a video out.
I did with Iron Man. I had played Iron Man, but I hadn't done anything like outside of the Paranoid album. And I played along with Volume 4 last night. Like I was just in a shitty mood. I'm gonna go play some Sabbath on drums because I haven't done that in forever. Man, Bill Ward, I know you're watching. You're the man. That was fantastic. It took me off on a tangent there, but I just had to say it.
Nice to get you through some shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to win an auction once for the Bill Ward's cowbell. It wasn't an auction; it was on Reverb. He had it on Reverb. It was the cowbell that was used in The Wizard, and it was I just wasn't quick enough. But it was like something where I'm like, I'm gonna buy it because it's just the coolest sound ever. But I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. But I missed out.
You can put it up and look at it on the wall.
I was actually thinking I'd probably it'd be cool to have it up at the Rock Hall if I could have donated by Chuck Schilling. The one thing I have is this cowbell,
That's one way to get in the Rock Hall.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, Dave Katz, good to see you. Real good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Thanks for having one of my bands on Hookahville one time.
Which one was it?
We were called New Moon Rising, and it was our second to last show.
Second to last show. How the memories.
2017 fall, Zane Shawnee Caverns.
Yeah, that was a fun venue.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Dark Side of the Moon was that Friday. I remember that was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one.
This is my only time I've ever been there, but a really cool place.
That might have been the one where I got I lost my voice, I got sick. Is that one?
Yeah.
Wow, that was rough. That was the only time that's ever happened to me. That was really rough.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was still good. I think that Sweeney was doing Artist at Large because I remember that was when I first realized, because I do lead guitar, like this dude is great, and I loved your guys' music, and I think it was after that I really started listening to you, though, and listening into him.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah. Since the beginning, that's cool. That's
talent.
cool to know he's been there since the beginning.
Yeah, he is the only lead guitarist we've had. I mean, the other guys play leads too, but he's the lead guitarist. Without a doubt. Yeah, he's definitely, I think, influenced a lot of people. I believe.
Cool.
I've heard.
Well,
I've heard from a lot of people
I'll
that
tell
they've
you again.
influenced him. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So when I said you guys sparked something in the scene, I guess it really meant the presence of this way of doing music in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Ohio's pretty. I mean, you have been around, and you have too. Ohio's got a lot of this, and especially the Cleveland scene. Some of the people we've interviewed here, some of the bands I've played in. Always kind of look back at you.
It's nice. I mean, it feels good. A lot of it feels. The main reason that I do what I do and have done it for so long is because, the main reason is because I don't know how to do anything else. I mean, let's be realistic about it. But outside of that, is because I feel you're both musicians,
Yeah.
so to be a musician, most musicians have an ego, right? I mean, you have an ego of some sort. There's something you get, like at anything else in life. I mean, we're hedonistic beings, right? So you don't do anything unless you get something out of it. That's just the way it is. even, no matter what, that's the way it is when you really break it down. And what I get out of it is the feedback, the reciprocity, if you will. But I also know that when I'm playing live, that I can get people out of their own heads for a couple hours. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm providing a service in a sense, right? And that makes me feel like I'm doing something good, like I'm accomplishing something, and I'm not just, some fuck up who plays music, you know what I mean, and does nothing else, or whatever. So it's good to hear things like that what we've done has influenced people or brought them to a place where they can do what we've done, and provide that for people as well, because anybody can sit around in a basement or in a garage or anywhere you want and play music. Anybody can do it. But to strive to do it for people, it doesn't matter how many people. Yeah. You can ask anybody who knows me. I've said this forever. If there's 10 people there who are listening to me and enjoying it, I'd rather do that than play for hundreds of people who don't give a shit about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Any day. We've had gigs like that. I remember playing some college campus in Alabama once. I forget which town, maybe Birmingham or something. And it was a packed house. We'd never been there before. And the people in the front row had their backs to us, talking to each other. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't care that we were there. This was just the thing to do. It was a terrible gig. Yeah. Didn't matter. It was packed. It was terrible. You know what I mean? And I've had other gigs. I can remember a gig in Colorado way back when there was literally probably 5 people there. Like maybe the first time we'd ever been the first time was good, but somewhere in Colorado, but they were digging it. They loved that they had all the space and they're dancing around, and it's like, hey, I'd much rather do that. Yeah. Because they're getting something from it. And that's, yeah, exactly.
We had a gig once where we just played for the bartender and the server, and they were both like,
you're digging it?
Yeah, was that the Geneva on the Lake one?
That was at the Cove.
That was at the Cove, yeah. We played the Cove.
Everybody's played the Cove.
We were
literally everybody.
Everybody from Hendrix. Yeah.
Yep. We were doing a Chili Peppers tribute band. That's how we met.
Nice. Nice.
Pass that wine down here? That is tasty.
Yeah.
Grazie.
Yeah, so that it is good to hear that again. I don't think we started anything, but that we helped.
You kept it alive.
Proliferate.
Yeah,
proliferate. That's the word, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's good because it's great to see people out there playing and having fun and doing that kind of thing.
Well, I love that you guys are still doing it.
Well, like I said,
there's
I don't know how to do anything.
No reason to stop.
Yeah. What am I going to do? I'd drive my wife nuts if I didn't play music. I'd drive her nuts anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've done 2 Hookahvilles every year since you started? Ever done 3?
Never done 3, and I think in the last few years with the pandemic and stuff, we probably missed 1 or so. I kind of
we can forget about it.
I don't even know what number it is anymore. We used to know what number it is. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it's still 2020, man.
I think you guys just hit 50 or something.
Well, we did. Okay, so 50, I remember that one because that was at the Caverns, and that was right before everything. So it was probably in
2019.
That would make sense. 25 years from 94.
Yeah, 48, I think, is the one we did, which was the second in 2017.
Okay, so that would have been 18 then.
Yeah.
So we got to 19 and probably went through 52. And then it all got crazy. So somebody knows that number. It's not me.
It's Jim. Jim knows it.
He might. Jim might know. Jim, are you watching? What number are we?
Phone a friend.
I'll make sure he watches this one. I've been trying to get him in here. So
he'd be a good one to have.
Do you know how many different venues you've held it at?
No.
All right.
If I'm going to go really quick and give you a general idea, I'd say, let's see, if you include the first one, and then Songbird is 2, and Legend Valley, and the ranch we just did it at, and Nelson Ledges a couple times, and the one that got busted by the cops out in what's it called? I try to forget it. Anyways, that place. And then Dover, we did one there, and the locals didn't want us back again. So that's 8.
Did you ever do that place in Medina, that Raccoon Club?
I've played there, but not Hookahville.
Did you say Legend Valley?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with 8 right now without thinking too hard. But there may be another one in there, but I'm gonna go with. Oh no, there is in Butler, so that's 9. That place was cool. I'm gonna go with 9.
All right.
Final answer.
We're going with 9.
Cool. That's got to be a nice feeling to not know your own trivia.
I probably know less of it than just about anybody. Yeah, I don't remember much of anything. That's for sure.
All right. We're happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
How many albums do you guys have?
Don't know.
Don't know.
You'd have to look that one up. Yeah, I'd have
What's
to
some of your
start counting
favorite?
again.
What's some recording stories that have stuck in your head?
Recording stories. Okay, so typically I do not like to be in the studio. I don't want to say I'm anti-studio. I mean, studio's fine. And again, anybody who knows me will tell you this. I'm a control freak. When it comes to the studio, it's hard to be in the studio for me with a band where everybody has a say. It's just difficult, and I'm sure it's difficult for all of them too. You know, the only time I've truly enjoyed being in the studio is when I did my solo disc, because I had all the control. The other times, I mean, it's okay at times, and I like to get in and get out. Basically, when it comes to the studio, it's not my favorite thing. But it was definitely cool being down at Peachtree Recording Studios in Atlanta. We did a combination thing down there. This is when we brought John Mullins back into the band, and we went down to Atlanta. We brought a bus or 2 bus loads or something of loads of people from Ohio down, and we did half of the recording live. They have a live room there, and half in the studio, and it's a famous studio. I forget who's been there, but I think Elton John was there, and it's a studio.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was a cool experience because everything there was great. The engineers were great and all that. But other than that, to be honest, recording for me is in and out. I don't have a lot of stories because I don't spend a lot of time in there. The early ones, I used to help. I used to help. What's the word I'm looking for? I used to help edit them. I used to help with the engineer. I'd work with the engineer. We worked with Chris Shepard a couple of times, who's a phenomenal engineer out of Chicago, and he was fun to work with because he was just really good at what he did, and he could accomplish everything we needed to accomplish, but I'm also not a gearhead, and I don't know much about recording equipment, so it's just kind of foreign to me. I go in, I play my parts, I get out. That's what I do.
Nice.
So. And I'm sorry I don't have any great stories about recording.
Oh, that's a great story. It's a great perspective.
Yeah. It's just not my thing. I like to write, and I like to play live. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, those are definitely the best parts. Recording is
For me,
a requirement. So.
it is. It is. I mean, some people love it.
Yeah.
I mean, guys in my band, I think there's some that love it. They get in there and they know the equipment and they want to manipulate this and do that. I mean, I get ideas once in a while. Like, I think on one song that I recorded, I doubled my vocals. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, there's some aspects that are kind of cool. I remember checking out, we were in Nashville recording something, and they had some echo chamber that was just like this concrete room that was 10 by 10, 40 feet tall, with mics all the way up every 10 feet. Wow. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
So what does that sound like?
They ran the vocals into there,
right,
and then re-recorded it. Basically, just gave it this huge. It sounded like you were in a huge stadium by yourself almost. It was pretty cool.
See, I could see if I was in control of it. Yeah. I could see using that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it was pretty.
So if anybody ever wants to put me in the studio to do my own thing again, I'm game. Anytime you want, just let me know.
Cool. You record at home, or how do you keep track? You keep track in your head of all the things you write?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. Nice brain. I can't do that.
Yeah, I don't have. I don't.
Brain.
I'm having. At this point, remembering the lyrics is becoming more and more difficult. But the music, that sticks.
Yeah,
that sticks. Memorizing lyrics is I used to be able to do it. Now it's a little iffier.
It's easier when you're telling a story, but with I remember Dennis telling us, like, trying to remember some of the Chili Peppers stuff. He's like, he's just spitting out words. There's no story here. I can't remember, like, the pattern that's going on here.
It makes it tough, too, when lyrics don't rhyme.
Yeah.
Because when you know you're looking for a rhyme, it kind of gives you a clue, right?
Like,
They
I
don't
have
always
10 choices
rhyme.
here. One
Right,
is
right.
going to make sense.
And if you miss it live, you just say something that rhymes.
Yeah,
and
you're
close
all good,
enough.
yeah.
Yeah, it's lyrics can be. I mean, I find that I don't have a choice when I write a song that I'm playing live on guitar. I have to remember. Well, again, I'm so old school, or just don't know anything about new stuff, that I don't have like an iPad with like everybody's got them up on their guitar, on their vocal stands, on their mic stands. I don't have one. I guess I should get one, but I don't have one.
You don't have to.
It seems like it would take a lot of time to put all my stuff in there. I have like 100 songs or something.
Yeah, it's a lot of typing.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. So those I memorize, but then I put cheat sheets all over my keyboards. I got lyrics. Actually, now I have a notebook, and I'll just move the notebook and move it around to where I need it, when I need it.
So is it just the keyboard that throws you off? Is it like the guitar, the chords just lead you
No.
it?
It's that I don't have any place to put a cheat sheet.
Okay.
So I have to memorize I don't have a
It's not a
choice.
necessity. All right. Okay.
Right. At the keyboard.
The keyboard, there's a built-in music stand.
Yeah. Well, I have them now. It took me until about a year ago. I finally have an actual music stand that I can put it in front of my piano. But the organ, I can just lay a notebook on it or tape lyrics to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are very few songs that I don't remember the lyrics to of my songs. Very few. But there are a few. Yeah. And there are other ones where if I have any thought in my mind that I might want to do it that night, I have to look up the lyrics and like look them over and kind of like study them a little bit. Like, okay, I got that now, and kind of reintroduce them to my brain.
I know what you mean. I remember one time I had to do a request, and I'm like, I haven't done that in a while. And so for the first verse, I sang the third verse on accident. I'm like, oh, crap. And then I thought, well, if I sing the first verse for the third verse, the song won't make any sense. So I did the third verse twice.
Twice. Okay.
Like third, second, third.
Sometimes I'll, sometimes I'll do that, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, and I'll remember the other one, and I'll put it in the other. It depends on the song. Right. If it's like you said, if it's a story, you can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. But if it's just a bunch of like ideas or
you're good to go.
What do they call it? A flow of consciousness or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you can. You can just put this verse here and this verse here, and it works. I think the one of the strangest things I ever did, as far as lyrics go, was our sound. I don't know how this came up, but I think I've always kind of been, I don't know if fascinated is the word, but sometimes words, when said backwards, are interesting. I have a song called Utopia, and backwards it's eipo2. So I think it was our sound man, Dan Mesnard, who challenged me to sing the song, and every time I say Utopia, say eipo2, which I did one time. So that was kind of fun.
Wow.
I'm sure the crowd was like, what the hell is this thing? But, I was like, I could do that.
Yeah. But one person out there might have got it.
Maybe.
He's speaking to me, man.
I think this was before, like, social media and all that stuff, so there wasn't anybody, like, going, oh, Katz did this. I mean, like, now you do something and it's everywhere and everybody talks about it. But I did that. A place that's called eipo2. Has a ring to
it. Not really.
Not really. No, it did that night. It may have been the vodka. I don't know.
Vodka can make anything ring.
Yeah.
Hey, wait.
Sure.
Eipo2.
Eipo2.
Sounds like a
E2?
Star Wars character.
or like a South Pacific island, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, they've got beautiful
Go to
beaches there.
Bora Bora, Tahiti, and eipo2.
Yeah. Well, you're describing utopias. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. All right. So you said you're not much of a gearhead, but what kind of gear do you use that that you like that's been trustworthy over the years?
My go-to as far as my electric piano goes is Yamaha. Their sounds, the digital sounds on it are good. The best sound I've ever had was a Kawai, but and it also felt the best because it had actual hammers in it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like road. It wasn't made to be on the road. I destroyed that really quick. I'm really hard on gear. I don't take care of anything. So
I've watched a Yamaha keyboard have water pouring out of it on stage.
It's still
because,
playing.
Yeah, because the keyboard player left his window down and it had a rainstorm. I'm like, dude, your keyboard is leaking. Played perfectly through the night. Yamaha is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when I go out playing drums, like, it's all Yamaha
all
gear.
Yamaha.
All
yeah.
Yamaha.
Yeah, it's solid. It lasts. It sounds good. I do use other sounds, but I do like the piano patches. Well, the full, it's called full grand, so it's just a natural piano sound. That's typically what I would use. 80% of the time. So I like the sound. So I go with that, and then I have my chopped A100. So it's a Hammond A100 chopped. I need another one. It's been shocking me lately, but it still sounds good. So I have a digital Hammond also, but I hate playing it. I have heard players play the digital Hammonds and make them sound great. I'm not capable of doing that for whatever reason, or at least it's not, to me, it's not working very well. I'm, back to the old school thing. Old school Hammond organ, Hammond B3, and A100 and a B3 are the same instrument. They just come in a different case initially, but all the inner workings are exactly the same. So, and people, back in the day, everybody played a Hammond B3. That's essentially what I'm playing.
Yeah.
And with a Leslie cabinet. And
Is it $1 billion like the B3?
No. I mean, B3s aren't that expensive. I mean, well, they can be expensive, but I could go right now to a guy I know in St. Clairsville. St. Clairsville, that's where the venue was that got busted. I knew it would come to me. And now I'm talking, and that's not where this guy is. He's in what's it called? Just another town that starts with an S, Steubenville. And he's got a bunch of organs. You can get a B3 for under $1,500.
Wow.
In good shape. From him. I don't know about anywhere else.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
Cool.
And so, but the Leslie cabinet makes it more expensive,
Yeah.
and without the cabinet, the organ has no speaker.
Right.
And Leslie's the speaker. You need that too. So I mean, you $3,000.
Yeah,
you can get something that sounds real good.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. But that's the way I go. I just like the sound of a piano and a Leslie organ. And then I'll play with electric piano sounds and a clavichord sound, and once in a while, like a vibraphone or something like that. And then, of course, when we get spacey, I'll just like hit any patch. And I mean, I have some favorite ones, but there's all kinds of like crazy things you can do with that. But I've never really been a synthesizer guy. I mean, I could sit down and play on one, I'm sure. Give me a week and I'd be halfway decent at it anyways, I suppose. But it's not my thing. Like the synthesizers and bending the notes and stuff like that. It's just, I can do it. I've just never really gotten into it that much. It's never really lent itself to, I don't think that's like an acoustic hookah sound, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
same. I've only gotten to play. I've played them at like a jam night where there's one up on stage. And,
Yeah.
like had some fun with it, but like, all right, that was fun. Like, wait till a few months and do it again.
Right.
I don't want one in my house.
But if you could like sit down and you wanted to, and like you just like learned how to do it, I'm sure it would.
yeah, find a place for it in the music.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But for me, it's more a space thing. Like I'll use that like the little like wheel thing that bends the
Yeah.
notes. Like
We're going to the moon.
there we go.
Yeah,
That was cool.
turn the reverb up.
Yeah. All the effects. See, I have no pedals or I have nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Clueless.
Cool. What about guitars?
I play a Martin. My newest one. I couldn't even tell you what series it is. It sounded good in the store, so I bought it.
Cool. That's
But
a great way to live.
The Martins, they sound good,
Yeah.
and they stand up better than a lot of other guitars in that range, or of that quality, I should say, on the road. So
I get it. Martin
I just go Martin, and I'm good. I'm not much of a guitar player. I mean, I strum, I can play, I write on guitar a lot, and sometimes make up I don't want to say I make up chords, but I'll play a chord and I don't even know what the hell it is. I'm like, Sweeney, what is this chord I'm playing? And he's like, here's a great story. So I had this chord. And I was like, oh, I like this chord a lot. Like this is cool. And I was like, Steve, what's this chord? He's like, I don't know, but I hate it. So I wrote a whole song around it. And now he's got to play it all the time.
What song is that?
Old Montana Red Dog.
Old Montana Red Dog.
Yeah. And
Make sure I listen to that on the way home.
Yeah, it's not the whole song, but it's in the song. And then I came to find out later when I learned how to play Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts that it's in there. Like that's the chord they play. So I was like, oh, cool. So, I didn't make up a new chord or anything, but it is an odd chord, and I still don't know what it's called. I could give it a name.
I think it's too late to make up chords. There's not enough notes.
There's no such thing. No such thing as making up a chord. But it must have a name. There's a way to put a name on it. I just haven't tried
Rick
to
Beato
do it
knows.
Yeah.
That guy knows all.
A minor, suspended, dominant,
Yeah.
sharp, flat. Yeah.
There you go. I'm a big fan of minor sixths. I use that a lot. That's a cool chord.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gone there yet, check out minor sixths.
I've been there.
Yeah, that's a
place
cool one.
to be.
That's a
I
good
try
one.
to stay away from minors,
That's a good policy, actually.
What do you got against digging for coal?
Wow, we're getting way into it now.
I can dig it.
All right.
Let's go to sponsors. On that note. Speaking of minors,
We don't have any minors over here.
No. We got the
Here's
basement
the
trader.
farthest thing from a minor right there.
He's dug into the ground in the basement. Painesville, Ohio. The bedrock, the foundation, the capital of Lake County. Painesville, Ohio is Chuck Kaminsky's Basement Trader on Chestnut Street. He's got used and new gear for sale. He's got 2 channels on Reverb, one for his guitars and basses and one for the accessories. And he's got awesome setups. Turnaround times are extremely quick, and he's an all-around good dude. Mm-hmm. A fan of Busch Light from the beginning. Mr.
right.
Chuck Kaminsky, the Basement Trader.
He will offer you a Busch Light, and you will drink it.
Yes, I've never turned down a Busch Light at Chuck's house.
I have.
You have?
Yeah. I was already too drunk.
Oh. Yeah.
It was after a few Busch Lights.
It was.
So this says guitars, basses, and other oddities.
Yeah,
So
I have his
kinda
other
means-
card upstairs and it says Horse Trader.
That kind of implies that the guitars and basses are odd.
He
begin
does. He
with.
likes quirky stuff. He gets into the old Japanese stuff.
Wow.
He's also got like an old, I think it's a K upright bass from the 40s sitting around.
Wow.
Yeah, it was there still last time I've been there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff. I've seen a
I
lot
hope he sells it one day, but it's been like a decoration lately. I bet.
Yeah, I think Jacob, his son, comes in places sometimes.
So does he have a store?
Yes, it's
In his
appointment
basement.
only, but it's in his basement.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's a lot of info here, but there's no address.
Yeah. Text him and
It's on Chestnut Street in Painesville.
yeah, and then
Right
there's a
off
little-
the highway, so you don't have to go deep into Painesville.
Yeah, a little sign there that says Basement Trader right next to the door. But
yeah.
it's
On
appointment
Chestnut
only.
Street. Yeah.
Nice.
And,
Drive up and down Chestnut Street, look for the sign.
Yeah,
Now we'll keep that.
you'll find him. He's a good dude.
I might need an oddity. You never know.
He gets some cool stuff, and he's called me about stuff, like where before he had started Basement Trader, he'd called me about stuff like, some dude's got a Mesa Boogie in here that's not working, and he can't afford to fix it. Will you give him $200 for it? I'm like, yes, I will. The reverb was not plugged into the RCA jack on that one. That was a nice find. from
Simple
Chuck.
fix,
He hooked
yeah.
me up with a 64 Deluxe reverb too.
Ooh.
That was a cool amp. That was a very cool amp. I bought that and a Rickenbacker guitar off the guy, like a 330, I think was the model. He's hooked me up with some cool stuff, and now he's doing it for himself. And he's a he gave me the term. He's a nickel today, not a dime tomorrow seller. So he's looking for to flip the stuff quickly at not a huge profit.
That's right. If you like to haggle,
Yeah.
He's your guy.
Haggle
text
with Chuck
440-392-4468.
for a good time.
let's move on to some event lighting.
Okay.
Okay. Enlightenment Event Lighting Entertainment. Brian and Emily Klemonik, light designers, owners of Enlightenment Event Lighting, who have actually worked on Hookahville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's to that.
Yeah. Cheers to that. Cool. That's Enlightenment Event Lighting. Don't see a website here, but if you can Enlightenment Event Lighting at gmail.com. I know they have a Facebook page and Instagram.
Yes, they do. They got
A
some
Google
cool pictures.
search. Yeah. Lots of great work. Everything from some of the biggest shows at Beachlands to Hookahville. They've been working at Tropidelics Festival since the beginning, and they've been busy every weekend this summer. Weddings, other corporate events, good stuff. Let's give a shout out to another photographer. Well, wait,
Huh?
I don't know.
No? We're going no numbers?
Drone photographer.
Drone photographer. That'd be
And-
Jones Drones CLE.
That's right. And hey, why don't you go back to season 1 and listen to our interview with the concert photographer, Aaron Bond from
No numbers?
No Numbers Photography. That's right. Thank you.
Teamwork.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Yeah. Two half brains work. Yeah.
A couple halfwits here.
Cool. I knew I took math class for a reason. Commercial drone services focused on creative solutions. That's jonesdronecle.com for repairs, drone lessons,
Yeah.
and drone sales. Check out his YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram for some really cool footage.
Yeah, he does events. He does commercials for places.
Been doing some great work with our sports teams lately. You know, he got some great footage for TNT for the NBA All-Star game
Yep.
of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
And just
Go Cavs. I
go
don't wear any
Cavs.
Cavs stuff.
Yeah.
I
Just
got
in the
my-
you got your Guardians hat
It's
on.
actually an Indians hat. but-
Oh, that's an Indians hat. That's
Yeah,
right.
whatever.
Yeah. Well,
all the same.
if you check it out, just in the past couple of weeks, he did some flyovers through Progressive Field. Really, really good footage.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
It's been a great season.
It has, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget about the Browns for a second.
Don't talk about today's game, please, because I'm going to watch it when I get home.
Oh,
I
you
tape
don't
everything.
know.
I don't know what happened today.
Oh,
He doesn't know.
I don't know what
All
happened
right.
today.
Cool.
all right.
I make a living. I make a habit of not know. I tape everything because I always want to watch it. So I need to like wear something. If you know what happened in a Cleveland game, don't tell me.
I like the.
I'm a huge,
Ever.
I
huge
make
Guardians
a living
fan.
of
And
not knowing where you were going with that. That sounds like a song lyric.
I kind of have.
I make a
done
living
that.
of not
That's-
knowing.
You're right. I should remember that.
Yeah.
But I have a
Like-
problem remembering things too. But
Good thing we're recording.
yes, that's true. I'll watch this and I'll remember.
I make a
things.
living of not knowing.
Well, I make a living delivering things, and so I'm in my car all day, and like a lot of times I just like to work the night, and that's the time that Tom Hamilton, that soothing sound from
I love
from
Tom
my whole
Hamilton.
life, yeah.
Well, see, I remember like Joe Tate doing the games and Herb Score.
I remember
doing the
Herb
games.
Score, yeah.
Yeah,
Herb
Joe
Score.
Tate used to do them.
I don't know who that is.
Joe Tate called the Cavs games, like from the first game of the Cavs till maybe 8 years ago or something like
Okay,
that.
I probably have heard him.
He was
but
the,
he did the
he was the radio.
Indians too.
He did the Indians for a short amount of time,
okay.
and I think it was him. He did it with, I believe, with Herb Score. But they used to get on and they'd do their spiel or whatever, and they'd say, "And it's a beautiful day for baseball," and that was him who used to do that, I
Well,
believe.
I think Tom Hamilton picked that up,
Did he
didn't he?
pick it
Doesn't
up?
he say that?
I don't
It's
know
a
if he
beautiful day
does.
for
Does
baseball.
he?
I remember Herb Score from, let's see, I think that his last year I was 13 or 12, something. And his last game was 97 when we Game 7 of the World Series. That was
That was so rough.
That was rough, man.
I remember where I was too, Oregon.
Yeah.
I was in Portland. That was rough.
I was in my living room in Chardon. Yeah.
That was a really bad day.
Oh, bueno.
That was a really bad day.
Yeah, because we all felt like it was ours in '95, But I mean, that Atlanta pitching staff.
We turned it into the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, 95 was, the staff was too much.
That was the one. That was the year I started getting it. I was 9, 10 years old. So my dad got me into it. I went to a game at the Municipal Stadium or whatever it was called, and whatever. If something about Jacobs Field, like made it a big thing in my life. You
Yeah.
know, I was in Little League. I didn't really care much about baseball. I think after my first time at Jacobs Field, all I ever wanted to be in my life was first an astronaut, then a baseball player, then a rock star.
Yeah.
You know, that was it.
Yeah, see, all I wanted to be was a football player or a baseball player. I would have gone basketball, but it was way too short. But my father was a great basketball player. He played an NCAA
nice.
tournament twice, captain of his team.
Oh, nice.
And at OU, and he played against like I don't know if are you basketball fans? You know history at all?
A little bit.
He played against like John Havlicek when he was at Ohio State, Jerry Lucas, and guys like that when they were at Ohio State. He was at OU, and amazing. I mean,
So
he was
OU played Ohio State in the tournament?
not in the tournament, but they did play each other that year. Those
nice.
2 years actually.
Cool. What years?
61, 62, that era.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, my father played basketball. He was playing pickup games till he was almost 60 years old with guys in their 20s.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
so I used to play pickup games with him, but I was just, I'm really short. So it wasn't happening I went to a Division I high school, and I was not making the basketball team, let's just say. But I played pickup games with all of them. It's just I wasn't going to make the team. But I played football and baseball, and that was all about that until they said, "Oh, you're not growing anymore." So I said, well, I probably shouldn't go to school anymore, and I'm going to play music. So that's what led to this whole thing.
I just told my wife the other day, I finally figured out what I want to be when I grow up.
You did? I still haven't
She goes,
figured that out.
She goes, what's that? I go, I want to be a cartoon character.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like, I just want to be, like, over the top and cause trouble.
I don't want to grow up.
That's,
Well, I think being a
that's even
cartoon
better,
character
yeah.
as a grown-up is...
There's grown-ups and cartoon characters.
Yeah, I'm thinking like more like Woody Woodpecker, just causing trouble.
How about becoming like a
Smart
caricature
ass.
of yourself?
Yeah, like I do that. I show up at weddings dressed in a penguin costume, like a penguin mascot
He
costume.
just gave himself these chops and mustache. This is new.
Yeah, this is- yeah.
I think
What
this
was
is
it
this is the
before?
start.
I had a beard
Just a
going,
big old.
and I started trimming it down, and I got
And
the
never
hair.
never a big beard, just, pretty
just-
tame.
Yeah, pretty tame. Yeah, I bought a Rickenbacker, and I thought this goes with a Rickenbacker base.
Oh
you
yeah, we
know?
got to do that side by side picture.
I think with the Rickenbacker, you even have to grow out the mustache.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna
gotta-
want
yeah,
just
I
the
gotta-
mustache.
Right, yeah.
Keep the rest like it is, and just get that mustache like big and hairy.
Yeah,
do
just
the
that
handlebars.
growl. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Go 30 style boxing out here.
There you go.
I know the game of fisticuffs.
Cool.
There's a tangent.
Let's make sure we don't go that way. We got two more sponsors to shout out. Let's
Listen
go with Listen
CLE.
CLE. You did such a good job last week. Let's have you do it again.
Oh, all right. Let's see if I can get this right.
Last
again.
week, as in an hour ago.
Yes. All right. So we've got 9 mood-based playlists.
Playlists. Yeah.
Playlists. That's 2 in a row.
You
Instead
used
of
to always say
saying
podcasts.
Yeah.
Playlist podcasts.
Yeah.
We're hosting a podcast that
see
throws
it.
me off every damn time.
I never gave you shit for it. You gave yourself shit.
Yeah, I am hard on myself. But it pays off.
Your wife likes it.
She sure does. And the mood-based Fuck!
Ah!
Playlists
Got
are. You button hooked me. What is love? Groove, energy boost, chill, feel good. Misery loves company. Rock out, night driving, and acoustic cuts.
Cool.
I'm gonna go listen to some Misery Loves Company right now after fucking up after bragging that I didn't fuck up.
What do these playlists have to do with CLE?
Absolutely nothing.
All right.
Not.
Moving on.
These are all local artists, and they're all mood-based rather than genre-based. So if you're feeling the Misery Loves Company type of mood, you're sitting there sulking and you want to just live in it, go straight to that playlist and you're set to go. It's all local artists. They're also doing a great job of getting this to the local establishments that are
right.
selling
Restaurants,
goods.
retailers.
Things like that.
Yeah, these playlists are 6 to 9 hours long, and they're all Cleveland artists, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people you may have heard on this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also have their artist database they've put together, which is basically like an EPK for artists that venues can go check out and festivals can check out. It shows what they do, what their requirements are, and we've heard a lot of good things from artists that have come in about the finding success and finding gigs from it.
That's right. It's pretty fresh idea. Only about 6-8 months old that they're doing it.
Something
but still,
like
they've got hundreds of artists in the database getting work from it. You know, companies that need entertainment for events. You know, venues looking for someone to open for their touring artists. You know, they come to there. And it's very free to sign up, and it's very easy to put yourself through the process. Go to listencle.com, click on their artist database, and sign yourself up.
Speaking of artists opening for acts, I went and saw Earthless it was last Saturday at the Grog Shop. If you haven't checked out the band Earthless, check them out. Really cool. Just a psychedelic rock three-piece that all of a sudden turns into like Black Sabbath riffs out of nowhere 20 minutes into the song, and you're like, oh, that was excellent.
You know? 20 minutes into the song.
Into the song, all of a sudden there would be a Sabbath riff comes out of like just this space noodling. Very, very cool. But the opening act was Terminal Lovers, which is a local band I hadn't heard of. They have a theremin player. Familiar with a theremin?
Wow,
You
don't
plays
hear
theremin
about that a lot.
the
The
whole set.
whole set, this dude plays theremin. He's in there getting way into it, waving his arms around.
What's that band again?
Terminal Lovers.
Terminal
I
Lovers,
checked
all
them out on Facebook, so I imagine we'll probably reach out to them in the future. But they hadn't played a show in like 3 years, and this was their first show. They opened for Earthless. They were cool
That
as
damn
hell.
COVID.
They were, they were great. It was just this really spacey stuff. As if you can imagine it, they have a theremin player.
I
that's
don't think I've ever
multi-year.
heard of a theremin player.
Yeah, this dude
like
was
usually
playing-
it's somebody who plays something else and occasionally plays the theremin.
And next to
but-
the
Goes to
theremin,
theremin for a section of a song.
right, like
Right.
a Jimmy Page thing, right?
yeah,
Where-
this was theremin from start to finish.
Wow.
Next to him was the the auxiliary percussionist, and he had this box. He just kept pulling stuff out. My friend Alan and I were laughing. We're like, "Is he gonna pull out one of those fish things that you like scrape the stick on?"
It's
and
a guaro.
Is that what
Right,
it is?
guaro,
He
yeah.
pulled that out. He pulled that out. He had, like, we were just like,
Yeah.
we know the names of nothing. We're just spouting out, percussive instruments.
I
that
should
we
have
know.
came. I should have came. You invited me.
I did.
I
It
don't remember
was-
what I was doing.
It was an
Did he
amazing
pull out the
show.
guaro?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like it was the next song he pulled that out. It was,
I mean,
it
if
was
you're ever going to
hilarious.
play Santana, you have to have a guaro.
Yeah.
Right?
But
I better be right about that. I mean, I could totally be mixed up. I think it's a guaro.
we're past 20 minutes in. Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I apologize. It's the fish thing.
and if you are listening, post it in the comments and tell us if we're wrong because that'd
There
be
you go.
cool
Yeah,
as hell.
please.
Yeah. For our one listener and creep on YouTube. Thanks, Mom. Actually, it's probably your aunt that came to our Chili Pepper show that one time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we had one-
We played at the Winchester one time, and we were doing. Some places want us to have an opener, but we didn't want to split the money, so we also created a Green Day tribute with the same members, and we just changed costumes. And so we had this like elaborate production already, and I think 10 people showed up to this show.
Maybe.
As long as
Is that
they were
counting
into
band
it.
members?
So for this show, we did Chili Peppers first, then Green Day. I'm the lead guitarist in one, and then I was the singer in the Green Day one, and like I shaved my beard off in between sets.
Really? That's extreme. That's
The singer,
very, that's
the
very
singer is one of
extreme.
for the Chili Peppers band is one of the hairiest people I've ever met, and he would shave down for
Every
the shows.
show, yeah.
Every
Just
show.
shave
To be
down.
Anthony,
Shaved down
Anthony
to be Anthony
Kiedis
Kiedis.
is bald there, so like yeah, whoa.
Denny's poor wife shaving his back.
That's pretty extreme as well.
All right, well let's
But
get
anyways,
away
his
from
aunt
those
was
stories.
like one of the only people at that show.
That's right.
So that's
yeah.
where that reference comes in.
From Boulder. Yeah, she was in town. She's like, "Are you playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm playing."
As a matter of fact.
Yeah, last time it was a sold out show.
That's true. That's true.
It
we
is true.
played it like sold out there in February. Something like, "You guys want to come back?" First warm day of the year.
Yeah,
that nobody's
killed us.
yeah, nobody wants to go out.
Everybody just wants to hang out and barbecue.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's exactly what happened. Because
Weather
I
can
remember
be a
saying,
bitch.
if it was me, I wouldn't be here.
Right. I've been to those gigs,
You know,
believe me.
it's just been snowing for 6 months straight, and now it's not.
And you have to have that perfect thing, right? Because if it's like like really storming, then nobody wants to go out.
Right.
Because they don't want to deal with the weather. And if it's really nice, they don't want to go out because they want to stay at home. So you got to have that, like, it's kind of drizzling a little bit.
That's the advantage for Cleveland bands is we have that like in between
You get that a
shitty
lot.
weather a lot.
You get that a lot.
It's like
right?
362 days a year.
That's a good point, yes.
Cool. Let's make sure we give a shout out to Jason Myers, Executive Director of Roots of American Music, nonprofit organization getting music to the less privileged schools that don't have the programs,
Yeah.
that, putting assemblies on for them, finding the people interested in there, the youngins, and really getting to them. Roots of American Music, rootsofamericanmusic.org to make a donation or seeing what they're up to in any way you can help.
Yeah. You got some extra instruments you don't need anymore?
That's right. Yeah, donations of instruments is a great way to do it.
Yeah. No, I've donated. There was a guy, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I have his email address saved where if I picked up like drum sets when I was flipping them and it had a bunch of stands that I, knew like it wasn't worth the effort of trying to sell. It's like, hey, here's a bunch of music stands, here's cymbal stands, stuff like that. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice. I've been
So
staring
we've
around.
I'm just seeing where we are. Waking
Here,
up.
man.
Where are we? I don't know where we are.
We're in some basement.
We're in the basement.
Chained to this floor.
We are with Dave Katz.
We are in the rock and roll capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio, which, by the way, I wear every day. Can't get
Hey,
away
look
from
at
it.
that.
Just saying.
Cleveland,
Wear
Ohio.
it pride.
Cool.
I
So
should do something like that.
you're not from Columbus, you're from Cleveland?
I'm from Cleveland.
All right.
Yeah, born and bred. Shaker Heights.
Shaker Heights, nice. Our good friend Carlos Jones lives in Shaker
I'm
Heights.
a good friend of Carlos myself.
That's great, man. Cool. I love him.
Carlos is a great guy.
Yeah. I've been filling in for Ghani for a few shows this year.
have
And
you?
that's been so much fun.
Not
Some
bad.
of the best times of my life on stage with them.
Oh yeah, I've done a couple of like duo shows with Carlos, just he and I,
Oh, cool.
like
cool.
playing and like not knowing what we're gonna play. It's like, hey, what do you want to do?
Who we talked to? Oh, Dave McDougal. We talked. We had a episode with he's a Big Ship was what they do. Cool.
Nice.
That's good stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Shaker Heights and where you live now?
I live in Chesterland.
Yeah.
It's a nice place. It's
Yeah.
well,
I'm just over the border from Mayfield, if you're familiar.
yeah.
But right down the hill and up the hill,
Yeah.
the Mayfield Hill.
On
I'm right at the top of
322?
the- I'm right at the top of the hill. like
Old
right
Mill
in that-
Road, something like that.
The back of my property's on Old Mill.
All right.
All right, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know it.
Yeah. I drive over there quite a bit, a couple times a week. I do. I shop and deliver for people for Instacart. Do groceries, grocery delivery. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Yeah.
And end up over there a lot.
Yeah.
See Heinen's, Costco.
It does sound like fun.
I'm
It
a
sounds
big-
like an
I'm a big-
alright gig.
It's not bad, and it's like just as much as the most money I've ever made in my life. Like,
I think about that when I'm sitting in a cubicle.
I'm a big Heinen's fan.
Yeah.
Me too.
Heinen's
Yeah,
has
Mayfield
good
Heinen's.
stuff.
It's my fourth favorite Heinen's.
Yeah, it's not the best one. You're right. You know what's actually the nicest one? Before I lived there, I lived out in a different area, and the one in Hudson.
I haven't been to
It's
out
a very,
there,
it's
out
like
there
a little
yet.
tiny specialty one. It's really nice. But the big ones, like on Cedar and Green,
Oh yeah, South Green Road.
yeah, that one's nice.
That's nice.
With
Yeah.
the big like domo ceiling, like the arc ceiling, and yeah, it's
That one's really busy,
very busy.
and so it's not one of my favorites. But
No.
So yeah.
What is the best Heinen's? 'Cause I haven't been to many besides those.
Pepper Pike is up
That
there.
one's nice. Yeah, I've been to that one. Lander Circle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Chardon's up there, and
I've been in that one once.
yeah, I go to the Menor one a lot just because I live over there.
I've never been in that
Yeah,
one.
I got maybe my favorite is Chagrin Falls.
Oh,
yeah.
I have been to that one. The one next to the CVS.
Should we start adding a
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
5
Yeah,
list?
that's another one.
I don't want to be like
You need a Heinen's
Evan's
card here, so you
favorite.
can
That's
do a
right.
little.
Evan's top 5 Heinens in here.
Can we get Heinen's to sponsor?
How
That'd
did
be
we?
fantastic.
How
He's a
did we
Heinen's
get
sponsor.
here? Yeah, oh, Instacart. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're here with Dave Katz of Acoustic Hookah. Let's please get back to the music,
Should
Evan.
rename the show Tangents.
All right.
That's the fun part, though. know where we're going.
is cool. So I mean, you've been rolling with this pretty like making it itself work for a while. It seems. You got any thing in the works that's new or anything that's pushing it to the next level? If there is a next level,
No.
Yeah, cool. That's the right answer.
No, I mean,
if
you
it
know,
ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it goes back to the beginning of this all. There's never been a plan, right? So if something happens, I'm not aware of it at the moment, and if it happens, it will happen, kind of thing. So no, there's nothing like.
Do you do any booking?
I do all the booking.
Oh.
I've done all the bookings since 2005, I think.
Oh wow! All right.
Yeah. So I do that, but it's different than it used to be. It's just it's different than it used to be. We stopped touring as much as we used to tour a long time ago. There were a lot of factors involved with that, but it's a lot more regional now. Occasionally we get out somewhere like we used to do, but it's been a while since we've done that. So the booking is pretty consistent now, as far as we have our little like circle of places we play in Hookahville, and once in a while a new thing pops up, which is nice. But it's not like we're out there looking to like tour in the conventional sense of that. I mean, it's just that that was rough. We did that for a long time. It was rough.
Do you get a lot of do you get some people asking you to come out?
Yeah. I mean, we still have fans that are all over the place, and I hear from them a lot. But you have to make it worth your while to go. And
exactly.
Just generally, it's tough to get it all together so it makes sense at this point. It would be nice if it was different, but you have to deal with the reality of the way it is. So,
you can't teleport. Yeah.
No, you can't teleport. You can't get your instruments teleported.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. So, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there are probably pockets here and there where we could go and things would go really well. But in order to do that, you have to, you get in a vehicle and you start driving. And you have to hit here and here and here, and maybe by the time you're at that third or fourth here, it's really good. But in between, it's rough.
Yeah.
And even when we were at our biggest, it was like that. It wasn't like everywhere we hit was just popping.
Yeah.
Had it been, maybe things would have been different. But we had our pockets. We had some really good times, a lot of good times on the road. But right now, it's kind of like settled into what it is.
Heinen's Tour 23.
Cool. What do you got the Odeon coming up at all?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We always do the Odeon. Well, for years we've done the Odeon the day after Thanksgiving, so Black Friday, and we will be there again. And I love playing the Odeon.
I love seeing you at the Odeon.
Love that stage. Love that. Always have loved that stage. So yeah, we'll be there again.
Cool. I'll see you there.
Excellent.
I've been there forever. I got to go back.
Cool.
It sounds
It's a great
like a good
room.
time. Yeah.
It's just a really good room. The stage is nice. I think the sound is good.
Yeah.
It always has been. I've never heard any problems. Staff's cool. I've heard things about other types of shows besides our type of show, but I think they cater more to like like the metal and rap kind of crowds, and that's obviously a different animal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
there's
we bring
not
in,
a lot of clubs that do. So like they,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the Odeon, those scenes would be close to dead.
Yeah.
But they're still thriving.
No, that's
Yeah.
great.
The ones that are
That's
around
great.
here. The Odeon's really been a great service to this town.
Yeah,
over
I
the
would
years.
assume that we're one of the only bands that are not in those genres.
Yeah,
that
one
play there.
of the only.
But
That's right.
when we go
But
there,
you're a staple.
staff's
You're a staple.
absolutely phenomenal. They love having us. We love being there. It's just a really good
You
time.
pack the place, you make money.
Yeah, well, I don't know about pack. We used to pack the place. Now we bring in a decent crowd.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember bartending. I bartended like almost 12 years, and when it was concert venues, like bands that brought them in, I love that band because I only
You're
have to
making
work.
money.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't work one less day that week.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the good things, and this is not by any means putting down the fans of any type of music, but generally speaking, the fans that come to see us are pretty mellow.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't a lot of fighting and
Yeah.
Not that they don't get drunk, they do, but you know, like you go to certain other types of concerts and they get really drunk, and then it
Rowdy,
creates
yeah.
things,
Yeah.
you know. So you know, it all has its ups and downs like anything else. But a lot of times we go into clubs and they're like, "Wow, we would love your crowd." It's like, well,
you
here's
get
to our crowd because
Well,
you know, that's a
acoustic
good thing.
hookah indoor shows, you get a contact high walking in,
Well, hopefully, I would hope so.
even before the music starts playing.
Hey, whatever works.
It works. Cool, man. Yeah, that's my birthday week. November 23rd is my birthday. So like
nice.
every time I can, I treat myself to that Odeon show.
No, that's good, and you should let me know next time. I'll just put you on the list.
All right, I'll be there in 2 months.
Then I'll treat
yeah.
you. I'll treat you to the Odeon show.
Cool, yeah, save me my $12 or whatever.
Broadcast
I think it's probably like 20,
Oh yeah, something
something
like
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't play that much, so we have to charge a little more.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's the Odeon. It's worth it.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
worth it.
Yeah, and I love that part of town. There's not a lot of parts of downtown Cleveland I do like, to be honest. Like to hang out at, but the Flats is one.
Flats is nice. It's better. Did anybody you good?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh,
That's-
you're all
that's
good.
for
Go
you?
for it.
Yeah. All right. I will. Don't have to tell me twice.
Some backwoods rosé.
There you go.
Get it? Yeah.
Rosé. Here's to that.
All right. Chuck, you got anything more for the man?
No, I've just been learning. This is great, man.
Learning.
I've said it in other episodes that we've had, but I was in the cover scene the whole time I've been playing until like a year ago or so. So like in the cover scene and the original scene just don't cross paths very often.
True.
So
often,
yeah. So like he brings in all these people. He's like, yeah, I know these guys, and I chime in where I can, and
Right.
the rest of the time I just keep my mouth shut and learn something. Learning that there's no juniors.
No juniors and Jews.
Yeah.
Jews and juniors don't go together.
Cool. Okay, I got one more.
Yeah.
Do you, for young bands looking to do follow the same kind of path, play those kind of shows, for like submitting music to play with you guys on one of these hookahvilles? How do you go about that?
I mean, the main thing is get it to Jim Garibaldi. I mean, he's kind of like the guy. We used to be, it used to be all us. Hookahville. We had a. What's the word I'm looking for? We had a conglomerate of people that worked on Hookahville year round. But that's back when Hookahville was drawing 15,000 people. Never drew 20. 15,000 people. But anywhere from like 8, we were getting 8 to 15,000 people every Hookahville for a while, and that was all us. But at some point, it was like, you know what, we don't want to deal with all this. We don't want to deal with a lot of aspects of it. So we started. I don't want to say we farmed it out, but we had to bring people in who were able to take care of it, but at the same time were willing to do it in the fashion that we wanted it done. So Jim Garibaldi is who does that now, and he also does what do they call it this? Where Everwild, which was Freak Stomp, the Tropodelic thing. So he's the guy to contact. I work with him. We talk about what bands may or may not come and stuff like that. But a lot of bands want to play, and Hookahville's not like a lot of these other festivals. We don't have 100 bands. This past one we kind of shortened the list, which I thought was great. I like the, I don't want to call it old school, but the way we used to do the festival thing, which was you don't need 100 bands. It's like crazy. It's too much for everybody, even the bands, because you got a lot of bands that play for no people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
At
too
1
much
p.m.
to take in. Your ears can only handle so much. I mean, you guys play too. It's like you can only handle so much, then you don't even hear things well anymore.
Yeah.
You can, and a big part of Hookahville when it started was the time in between the bands and the time after the bands, because you didn't have bands all night. So it was like people just hanging out and having a good time and seeing people that you don't see all the time. friends of yours that came in from other states, and so you actually have that social interaction, which to me was great as far as festivals go, and that's kind of gotten lost in a lot of festivals. I mean, you can still do that, but it's always like, you're talking to people, it's like, oh shit, so-and-so's playing at this stage, and so-and-so's playing at this stage, and I don't even know which one. I want to see both of them, but I got to go to one at least, and then you do that for like 14 hours, you know what I mean?
And
it's
they're
just
always
like
on those 3-day weekends.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like sometimes you had music 3 days, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
trying to fit in
And it's
like
a lot.
all the music.
It's a lot to take
catching
in.
up with all your friends, having a good time and like
Right.
socializing.
And a part of it that would happen too, that I see at festivals, and it's unfortunate, but people, they get lost in what's going on. They don't take care of themselves. You know what I mean? They don't drink enough water. They don't eat food. Like, there's no time. They don't even think about it. It's just all about like, I got to take in all this music.
I'm gonna miss out if I
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, don't get me wrong, it's great for the band that like it's their first time and they're on Bonnaroo, let's say, and they're like, wow, and they show you the poster and it's like there's literally 150 bands and they're this little print at the bottom and they don't play in front of anybody. And I don't know how much that does for the band.
because it's Sunday at 12:30 p.m.
or whatever it is, right? And to me,
Everyone's sleeping.
right, they're sleeping, and if they're not, they're just burnt anyways.
Yeah.
From being still awake.
And it's nothing, the bands can be great, and it's nothing against the people. It's not even anything against the promoters. It's just how I feel personally.
Yeah.
And to me, you don't need that much. It's more about have fewer bands, give them a decent amount of time. Don't put them on a stage against another band on another stage, because then it's like a competition.
Right.
It's weird, and music shouldn't be about a competition.
And then when you
That's
meet
not
your
what it
friends,
should be about.
when you meet your friends after a few bands, like you both remember the band that was the third band up.
Yeah, like you can
discuss
exactly.
it.
You can
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
You
it
can
was
take
nice
in
to
what you
experience
heard.
that. The one time I played one of those was, we were playing. It was like a Sunday afternoon, but a band stopped on one stage. We started. Then when we ended was when the other band started.
Right.
It wasn't that competition.
And to me, there should even be time in between.
Time in between to get
because
there,
like give the people who want to see this band and the next band time to like
go get some food,
or
go
piss,
get something to drink,
or
go to the
something.
bathroom.
Do something. So they don't feel like they're missing something, because like that's like there should be no like angst. You know what I mean? Like at a festival.
You feel
Like,
pressure
who
to see
needs
everything.
that,
You don't want.
But again,
you don't want to miss out.
And
the FOMO.
there are plenty of people who want to. They want to go just because are 100 bands. Great, if that's what you like, that's what you like. I'm not saying you're a terrible person because of that or anything like that. But that's just my thing. I mean, it doesn't seem necessary to me. When I'm a concert goer, I don't need that. I want to enjoy each band. And if there's a band that I don't care to see, that gives me time to do something else. That's okay. Mm-hmm. It's all right.
Yeah.
You don't have to love every band at every, festival or anything like that. Give them a variety of things so that there's enough to take in that it makes it so they want to come beyond the headliners, hopefully.
Yeah.
But even if it's just the headliners, that's okay too. It's like, I don't know. Somehow it grew into this like monstrous thing. Like these festivals are so big. And a lot of people like that. It's just, I don't know. I think less can be more in a lot of ways. So I don't even remember why I started talking about this. What'd you ask me?
A question.
And that was your answer. So,
yeah, I mean, you get to a certain age and you want. I mean, I'm there already at 36. I want it to be easier on my body and on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, preserve what you have a little bit. I'm just take it from an old guy. You need to like, you only have so much in there. You can only handle so much. Trust me, you can only handle so much until you need that iPad and you need that like music stand and you need cheat sheets and all that kind of stuff. It's like, just take it easy. There's a lot to take in and you don't have to get it all in one weekend. Mm-hmm. You just don't. It's a lot. It's a lot. And again, I think I can remember playing festivals where there's like 5 stages at one time, literally going on at one time. it's tough. You
Yeah.
know, unless you're the biggest band that's playing at that time. You know what I mean? If you're like in the bottom rung as far as popularity goes, or how well you're known, or whatever, man,
You're
it's
playing
tough.
for your friends and a few,
Yeah,
few
and then
people.
and then you've gone all this way, and you feel good about being on this show, but really you're not playing for anybody you haven't played for before.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, what does that do for you? Really, it doesn't do a lot for you.
In your mind, speaking as one of those bands, in your mind it gets you in position to get in a better place next year. But then that's just a long, like 5-6 year grind
Yeah.
to get to where you want to be. And I don't know if that's what
That's
Chasing the
not.
carrot, man.
That's not the way it works. It's just not. You know, the way it works is that you play, and you play, and you play, and you play little places, and you keep playing, and you build up your own crowd. I'm sure
the
there are
spiral
bands.
you were talking about.
The
right?
spiral. It worked for us,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's worked for some people where they get, for some bands where they get on these festivals and it works. But for the majority of them, it doesn't. That's not the way it works. Like getting on a big festival, it sounds good, but it generally that's not what's going to make you a career out of it. It's just not. That's not how it works.
And they don't pay you.
Not much.
They'll pay you
Not
what
much.
you can sell tickets for.
Yeah.
They'll give you a few free tickets.
Right.
All right,
Yeah,
I got a
mean,
question on that. For if you've played these big festivals, do they earn you more pay at the other things that you do afterwards by
That's,
saying that
well,
you're
see,
on
that's the question, and that's what you have to feel out. For instance, okay, let's take Bonnaroo. All right,
Yeah.
we played Bonnaroo in second year of it, whatever that was. I think 2002 or 3 or 4. I don't know, something like that. We had a great response there. I mean, we played a tent. I don't remember what it was called, the something tent. It was packed. There were people, it was packed.
The early days, what was that, like Widespread Panic and Mo? Those kind of bands?
No, it's before, as far as
Before
headliners
even
go.
then? Yeah.
I remember one of the headliners being Neil Young and what was his band called?
Crazy Horse?
Crazy
Crazy
Horse.
Horse,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't remember the rest of it, but I remember that. And we had a packed tent.
Were those
or
Allman
whatever.
Brothers shows? Did they do those in the early days too?
I don't remember them being there. They used to back then. We played down at Sewanee, and they had their festival down there.
Derek Trucks? Was he one of the starters?
He was probably like 10 then. I mean, he was really young back then. He opened up for us a couple times when he was really like 13, 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
In
I didn't know
Columbus
that.
one time, actually. Twice, I think.
Oh, I thought he was older than me. I guess not.
Probably
He may be.
Probably,
little bit.
yeah,
He may
in
be.
between us, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what year it was, but he did. He opened up when he was young enough that his uncle, who was like his manager, and so their drummer, one of the Allman Brothers drummers, Butch Trucks, his brother was Derek's. No, maybe that was his father, because he has I forget how the relationship was, but he was really young. He was like a little kid. I mean, he was phenomenal. It was
Yeah.
like jaw dropping that this little kid was like wow.
Yeah.
Look what this
He's
guy's
one of my
look what he's
favorites.
doing, And he's always, not only is he great, but he's a really nice guy. Really nice guy. But anyways, I digress. I forget what I was talking about.
Tangents.
Yeah, again,
Tangents.
It's all
all
right.
about tangents.
They just sold their tour bus.
Oh.
I did see that. Yeah,
just saw
yeah. We were
that.
talking
The
about
Trucks band, Derek
yeah.
Trucks band.
Bonnaroo or
Yeah.
headliners.
So we got on Bonnaroo and played for a packed tent, and there were people outside the tent and everything. We're like, this is great. So the next time we went down to Nashville, we figured, well, we're going to kill it because it's a Tennessee festival. We always did well there, but it wasn't better. It doesn't work like that. Like, generally speaking, it does, I'm sure, for some acts, but for the majority, it's not like you're going to get on Bonnaroo and then all of a sudden you're going to blow up. It doesn't work that. It's just not realistic because there's so many bands. There's a lot of people, but they only have so much. What do you call it? Like extra money.
Yeah.
To go see bands. I mean, they're still going to see their favorite bands, and some of them, I'm sure you'll turn on a couple people here and there, but the way to do it is play your own shows, play your shows, get people into your shows, so they really get in on it, spread the word as any way you can. I mean, back when we did it, again, this is really early, but we had a guy, his name's Dubba, we call him Dubba, and because he dubbed our shows, and he used to come to our shows. He would tape every show, and then before the next show, he would make literally cassette copies of our tapes in the early 90s and sell them for his cost, like $2 or something. And then people traded them all over the country. Again, before social media and all that. That helped us, like...
You said your live shows.
Live shows. And that helped. That was huge. It was huge because we would go out to, like, Montana, and we already had a name in Montana because people were trading these shows.
How do you know to play, in those days, how do you know to play a show in Montana? You knew you had a fan base there before you went out, obviously.
Not
right?
really. Not really. We had a booking agent. Our first big booking agent was a guy, he was just a friend of ours. We did, again, everything organically. We didn't go with like a booking agency. We just hired a friend to be our booking agent, and that's what we did. And he was a guy who lived in Oregon at the time, and he just started booking us. He was like, I'll get in touch with places and I'll book you. And we're like, cool, we'll go. And so that's what we did. There was one time we let somebody from a booking agency, I forget the name of it right now, doesn't really matter, but a fairly big booking agency, and we let them book us, and that didn't work out well because you have to be like their top people, their top bands. If you're not, then they, whatever, they don't care. So everything that's ever worked for Acoustic Hookah was organic, in-house, friends. That's what worked.
Cool.
Not that that's what works for every band, but that's what worked for us. Everything was just friends, all about friends.
Yeah, and
Good
it's
people.
hard to accept that might work for you these days with all the different resources available.
It might be much more difficult. I mean, I wouldn't know, but
Well, there's double the amount of people in the world now than there are then.
true. But it's also persistence. I mean, we played a lot. And we traveled a lot, and we played. I mean, we were playing 150 plus nights a year, and
Word.
I mean, we were playing a lot.
Yeah.
So you go out and you play. I mean, that's what you do. You can't rely on like getting on a festival and that's gonna make you well known. You know what I mean? You got to go out and play. You just go out and play and do what you got to do. And it may or may not work. The chances are really slim. And we've been really lucky,
Cool.
Really lucky. So, here's the luck.
Here's to luck.
And
Here's to you,
persistence.
Dave.
Persistence.
Persistence, hard work.
Yeah. Well, hopefully a good song here or there.
Yeah. Natural songwriting talent goes a long way.
It doesn't hurt to have something that people remember.
I already forgot the song thing that we came up with earlier.
We came up with the song earlier?
Yeah, well, and a lyric.
Well,
the booze happened.
we're recording.
Yeah, well, we said we're going to watch
we did
it.
record it, yeah.
We'll watch it.
We did say we'd forget it.
All right. I think that it's about time to wrap up here.
All right.
I got to get home. I got a 48-minute drive.
If we go into
I
our,
have to say,
our closing question?
You didn't ask me about the... I spilled.
no.
It was like the first question.
No. What did you say? You asked everybody a TV show and a movie?
Yeah, I was working up to that.
Oh, we're getting
Yeah.
there? I'm sorry. I blew it. I blew the surprise.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't watch any of our episodes. Nobody does before they come in here. So whenever we hit them with this question, they're like, I don't know. So
that's
that's
a tough
why
one.
Okay.
you're the first person
It's the
I
second
told
hard-
first.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the second hardest question.
I
The
still-
first hardest question is like recommend a bands we should see in the area.
Oh
And he
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
Well, I can't think of any.
let's give them a
That's
hard one then.
So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right,
Because I don't see any bands in
Yeah.
there.
Do you know any like young aspiring bands in Northeast Ohio that have caught your attention?
That's the toughest question of the day.
I don't really go out and see much live music in the area. So that is the toughest question of the day.
All right, we'll give you.
Other
a
than
pass.
everything my kids have asked me. But,
Terminal Lovers. Go see them.
Yeah.
there, we'll go with Terminal Lovers.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
How many-
actually, I got to think of their acronym. Oh, Oregon Space
Oregon
Trail
Space
of
Trail
Doom.
of Doom.
Yeah.
Yes, they're very good and good people.
Yeah.
So I would go with them.
Killer.
Yeah.
Killer. Good recommendation.
Tony.
Oh yeah, drummer, right? Yeah, he's the man.
He's played with me in many things.
Mm-hmm.
So, good
Yeah,
guy.
I think I might have seen something go down at the Kent stage with where Tony was
Mm-hmm.
behind you guys.
Sounds about right.
You guys come to the Kent stage anytime soon?
Mm-hmm. We will be at the Kent stage on October 14th.
Oh, road trip. All right.
Yeah.
Road trip. Well, only an hour, but still.
It's an easy one.
Yeah. I love the Kent stage.
Yeah, I do too. Another stage I love playing.
All right. So we ask all of our guests one last question. Do you have a movie or TV show recommendation for us, or YouTube channel?
So, recommendation? I mean, I can tell you what I like to watch,
All right.
I guess. Well, one probably
Keep it PG-13.
Yeah, no,
that's easy. I'm just kidding.
One of my favorite
Backdoor
TV
Slut
shows to watch.
7.
Right.
Dude, there's no way that's better than 8.
One of my favorite, television shows. I don't watch much outside of sports, but I do like certain, like a few reality things. And my favorite one just came back. I just saw the first episode last week, and that's Ink Masters. It's all about tattoos.
Tattoos?
It's all about tattoos, and I am adorned somewhat, and I love just watching it. It just blows me away. I mean, if you're into tattoos, Ink Masters is like, it's a competition. It's a reality show.
I remember
kind of
watching
thing.
the first couple seasons of that, and
Yeah.
what blew me away was the people that are like, "Yeah, I'll get a tattoo of whatever your challenge is."
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. That I would never do. I would never be on the show. But it is pretty cool to watch these artists and what they can do, because I've loved watching as they get created on me, on the ones that I can see. I mean, the ones I can't see, I can't see.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, that kind of blows my mind. So it used to be with Dave Navarro. Was
Yeah,
the,
is he not on it anymore?
He's not, and it's the guy who hosted it the other day. I didn't catch his name, but he's definitely a musician also,
All right.
but probably from a band that I've either never heard of or don't know anything about. So I'm going to have to learn who that is.
All right.
But I'm a big Ink Master fan. And
Dave Navarro was awesome live. I've seen him once.
he's a talented dude.
Yeah,
definitely.
he is.
Definitely. And movies, if it depends what you like and what you're into, obviously. But I happen to like poker a lot, and Rounders is
Hey, nice.
Rounders is very, very cool movie. If you want to follow like the
Evan's a poker
dialogue.
fan.
I'm
Yeah.
a poker player.
So
Yeah,
you-
that's one of
must
my
like
side
Rounders,
incomes. Yeah.
Yeah, Rounders is a really cool movie. I mean, you have to listen to the
yeah.
dialogue, right? It's all about the dialogue in it.
Yeah, well, I've probably seen it 100 times.
Right,
yeah.
right. You probably know, but Malkovich, man, like some of the lines he says, and just that Russian accent of his kills me. But I'm also a big
Yeah, sometimes when I still play at the casino, like
Yeah.
1-2 days a week, and I'll like say, "Go ahead," or like pay this man his money.
You bring Oreos
No.
just to fuck with people.
No, I've never done that.
You should
no.
probably do that. Put them in a little thing and keep them right there.
No, I'm pretty still the entire time.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
I'm an Edward Norton fan too, though. So I mean, I like his stuff. Like Primal Fear is amazing. He's amazing in Primal Fear.
I've never seen that one.
Never seen that?
Cool. That's the movie I'm watching this week.
Primal Fear.
All right.
Yeah, check it out.
I do like Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good in that one. He's good in everything he's been in, I think. But yeah, Rounders, especially if you're a poker player
Yeah.
or enjoy poker to any extent.
I've enjoyed
was very
poker, not as long as I've enjoyed music, but since college. Yeah.
Terrible. I have no patience.
Well, you
so-
should come to one of my poker games.
and just
man.
give you all. I'll just give you cash. What does
Exactly.
it cost?
Well, I mean, you won't get the fun part of it.
I won't get it anyways. I'm terrible, man. I'm all in right away. I'm like, I'm done with this. I need to move. Here's all my money. Can I pay to leave now?
No, yeah. If that's your attitude, don't even go.
That is that's what I've learned. 100%.
I've learned that I used to be pretty good at it, and a lot of people are a lot better than I am.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned, you know.
The only way to stay good is to keep like studying.
Yeah.
You know, and like there's a lot of luck involved for sure.
Well, of
but
course.
you know,
But it's
you can still
well, you know,
control.
it's playing what you have, right?
Yeah, you
And
control the odds to an extent.
Yes.
You know.
You don't have to have hands.
No.
You just have to have balls.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
You gotta have balls.
Well, I'm a
Definitely.
mathy player, but also watching and reading the players.
See, I skip all of
Because
that.
I
and just
don't.
go with the
I
balls.
honestly don't have a lot of balls. I'm just like wait for like a situation.
conservative.
Wait for a situation where I know it's me, and then like exploit that to the max.
I can't remember the guy's name, but for a number of years I would watch the World Series of Poker, and there was one guy who won it all, and he was not a good player, but
It happens.
he talked all the time. Like he never shut up, so you couldn't read him. You know what I mean? Like there was no reading him at all because he was just like silly and like talking to people, and it threw everybody. But then, his name was what's his name? I can't. I want to say it was like Wanamaker or something like that, but it was
Moneymaker.
Moneymaker.
Yeah.
That was the guy. You remember him?
Yeah.
yeah. And he was not good. I mean, and it showed like because his career nosedived after he won the World Series of Poker, but he like threw everybody.
That's the man who created like that situation, him winning it all. That created like the poker boom in the early 2000s, and like then everybody was playing. Oh, if he can win
Right.
$5 million like
Right,
that,
right. Exactly. But you remember he was not good. I mean, he was just
looking back at
he
some
was
of those
erratic
hands,
and like nothing made sense. But all the guys who were used to people being like you and being like stoic and like I'm not showing anything, they were thrown. I think they didn't get it. He was like, "Yeah, I have a great hand. You don't want to play me. I got a great hand."
Yeah.
They're like, "Whoa."
You can play that way, and it's like polarized. Like you win a lot or you lose a lot. But like, I play like steady, like up a little. I don't win a lot, but I win enough.
Hey, if you win.
Yeah. If
That's
I
it.
win $50, I'm happy. You know.
Right. See, that's always been my problem with gambling is that I'm not happy with $50. It's like I gotta win. I gotta win, and it happens once in a while. But
Well, it takes getting that perception about it. Like I didn't always have that. It's relatively new, like 5-6 years. But I've lost a lot, and it takes losing a lot to be a winning player.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta spend money to make money, right? Hey, the only thing I bet on now is football.
Well, hey, I'll bet you on football.
You'll bet me?
Yeah, cool.
We'll have to talk.
All right.
I'm not very good at that either.
Neither am I. That's just making the game more interesting.
I lose hard.
That's exactly what it is.
Cool.
I just like to watch, and I love the game, and I don't like to watch if I don't have a stake in it. So I never bet Cleveland games because I got the stake already.
I used to have a thing where I would bet on the other team as much as I would pay for our team to win. So either way, I'm happy.
That's one way. Well, and if it was the Browns, you were always making money.
Always making money.
Not anymore, but you were. So
Yeah. Remember the first time I did that? It was when the Steelers were in the Super Bowl, like against Green Bay or something like that.
Rough times.
And no, this was like
No, I hate the Steelers.
2011,
That's why I say
2010,
that. I just
2011.
hate the
Yeah, I
Steelers.
hate the Steelers.
If they're
too.
in the Super Bowl, it's
I
a
hate
rough
the
time.
Steelers.
Yeah.
I remember I bet $50 on them because like that's how much I wanted them to lose, and I think that they won or they lost. I don't know. Either way, I got my money's worth.
They didn't cover.
No. It was like, it
either
was
way,
pretty
'cause
straight
it
up.
wasn't-
Like
right.
I think I might have won money
I think they
because
lost to the Cardinals.
no, they
in the
won
Super
that
Bowl.
one.
Did they win that one?
They won that one. They
hard for me to
beat Green
remember.
Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was it because Green Bay lost, but I bet on this. I bet on Green Bay. No, I bet on the Steelers because I wanted them to lose, and so I won money and they won. I'm like, fuck, they won, but hey, I won some money.
I usually do pretty well in the Super Bowl. I've been good on the Super Bowl for years, but Pittsburgh is so. I've always said, I hate Pittsburgh, and the only way I would ever root for Pittsburgh to win is if they were playing the New York Yankees. It's the only team I hate worse than them.
There's, I love Ohio State football too. Do you like Ohio State football?
I'm not a big college sports fan, so I wouldn't say I love them. I root for them because a lot of people I know do.
The same thing like Michigan Wolverines are the
Right.
rival. They always
Sure.
play them at the end of the year. So throughout the year, we always root for Michigan. So because Ohio State always beats them at the end, and if they beat an undefeated Michigan team, like and they
Even
win
better.
yeah.
Right. That's because of that weird that weird way they do the BCS,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it is BCS.
BCS is over. They do like playoffs
Yeah,
now, and
whatever
then,
it
like,
is.
that's only for a few more years. They're
But the
about,
ratings are weird. The way they calculate
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
very like convoluted. It's like, wow.
in
do
a
you come up
couple
with
more
that?
years, they're changing it again to like a
that-
12-team playoff.
That's good.
Yeah.
They should get more teams in the playoff.
Definitely,
I agree
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I that's when I don't want
It's
to say
gonna
I
be a lot
become
more
a fan,
interesting.
but I like to watch it better.
Yeah.
See, I'm a pro fan because I just say I'm pro anything. I can watch professional ping pong. I don't care what it is. If it's the best in the world at what they do, I
Yeah.
enjoy watching it. That's
There's
the
some
way I am.
there's some really weird sports to watch that are awesome. and entertaining.
Anything.
You ever watch pool?
I love
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I used to like to play pool a lot. When we used to play bars a lot, I used to run a lot of people. But
All right.
I had classes with a professional cornhole player, and he made his ESPN
those guys are sick.
Oh,
He
my
made
God,
his
yeah.
They're
ESPN
sick.
debut opposite the Super Bowl.
Wow.
It was not good timing for him.
But those guys are sick.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, wow, they never miss. It
Well-
kind of gets boring, actually,
Yeah.
because they're so good.
Right.
I mean, I lived in England for a while, and I used to watch darts.
Darts is
Yeah.
fun
And it
to
was
watch.
like, wow.
Darts is fun
Because
to
I would
play,
try and
too.
play
It
darts.
is,
It's
yeah.
fun.
I got a
It
dartboard
is
in my
fun.
garage. I
Right.
love playing
But the
darts.
pros, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah,
So
they're
I can watch
ridiculous.
pro
They
anything.
can put it wherever they want.
Anything they
See the
want.
dude that made the dartboard where you always get a bullseye?
Yeah. Yes.
That's my kind of boy.
It follows your dart.
Oh, really?
It has a tracking thing on it, and you get a bullseye every time.
That's
That guy makes some cool shit on YouTube. I don't remember his name, but
Oh, he
that's
makes
my-
more stuff.
He made this squirrel like thing where they had to get through the nuts, but they had to go through all these obstacles. He made like 3 versions of this thing. It's nuts. But
It's nuts.
it sure is.
like in the
To get
backyard.
nuts.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, like they had
I
like all
saw
these
that,
obstacles
yeah.
they had to go
I
through, and
saw
he named
that.
all the squirrels.
Yeah,
'cause-
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw. I
This
don't
dude makes
know,
all kinds
somewhere
of cool shit.
I saw
but
that.
yeah, he's
but
on YouTube.
Well,
Yeah.
we're almost at 2 hours. We've never even. Our longest was an hour 40.
I can talk a lot.
Well,
I can talk a lot, so I apologize. For
oh, don't apologize. I had a feeling this would be our longest episode
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right, Dave Katz. Anything else you want to tell the world?
Tell the world.
Tell our parents.
You got good kids. Good kids.
Don't
Leave
li-
them alone.
Don't
Quit
listen to
bugging 'em.
Chuck. Our parents do not listen. But would you like to tell our listeners something?
All I would say is you should support music. You should support bands, like Evan's band. And are you in a band?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Whatever. You should watch them on YouTube or whatever.
I'm in a
But-
band called the Rust Belt Ragtops.
Russell,
Yeah.
you should support them. I'd say that, but I'm 3 glasses in. But yeah, I mean, support local music, and people are out there and doing what they're doing. And it's tough. It's tough to get on stage and just play it and perform and try to get that kind of response. So go out and support them and help them out. And if you get a chance, come see Acoustic Hookah, because we're not so bad. We can be fun sometimes.
Yeah.
That's all I got
All right, Dave Katz. Thanks a lot for
you.
coming in. Dave Katz.
for my last sip.
Yeah.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for us at Cuyahoga Sound Podcast, thanks for listening again. I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling.
I'm Dave Katz.
Peace.
Yo.